In this video, I'd like to talk about climate change and children in the early years. There's so much discussion about how we teach climate change to children at this age, and what lessons, what we should do, what we should tell them about climate change. And I would like to talk about my opinion of, in a lot of ways, we're already doing this. If you are in an earlier setting or an early years or at school and you're working according to a curriculum, then you probably are taking children outside. You're exploring the nature, you're exploring the world around you. You are engaging in recycling. You are talking about communities, the bigger community, weather, all types of things. So you probably are already doing lessons that can help children initially learn about nature and what's happening in nature. What I would like to address, which can often be something that's really important, not just relating to climate change, is what attitudes and habits we bring to the table and how it impacts what we model to the children. Now, this is something I've spoken to those who work in early years education for a long time regarding our preconceived ideas and thoughts and habits. So it could be related to physical activity. If we don't like being active, how do we instill a love of being active in children? If we don't enjoy being outdoors, how are we going to encourage children to be outdoors more and want to be outdoors more? If we come with the idea of girls should play with dolls and boys should play with cars, or girls should be in pink and boys should be in blue, then we're not looking at gender equality. So there's a lot of things that we come with, and ideas and thoughts that sometimes we don't even realize that we are instilling in children. So what we want to do is start by instilling good habits and good attitudes from a very young age. Right, so I want to talk about a few things that often that are spoken about regarding adults changing their habits, but how that can actually impact on those who work with young children. Or if you're a parent watching this video, same thing. So when children are born, they're very close to nature, and the reason for that is we aren't separate to nature. We are part of nature. Human beings are part of nature. But we grow up to start seeing ourselves as separate from nature. And in actual fact, we're not. So young children are still completely close to nature. They're in awe of nature. They love nature. They want to explore nature. There's so much that they just love about it. And as they get older, something happens where we help them move away from nature. So that's something, to really think about. How do we ensure that children still feel part of nature and want to respect nature and want to, continue loving nature? What is it that we're doing to stop that? Just think about that. Because actually often, if you don't like spiders or bugs or being outside, you hate being on grass, things like that, that's actually going to come across if you're not careful. So it's really important to think, how can I keep this love and respect for nature that children are born with and have? Now, the next thing is thinking about diet. So, it's thinking about encourage children not to be wasteful. Really appreciating that what we're eating, it really is important that we don't have too much, more than we can eat, that we're going to throw it away. Thinking about those kind of things, and teaching them about the importance of eating less animal products and eating more natural products. And once again, it's our attitudes towards it. So if we hate eating fruit and vegetables, it's often going to come across with children. So it's trying to think, how do we change our attitudes that will support children to develop the attitudes? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this is something that we talk about with regards to physical development, so it's not too far. How do we encourage children to walk more and get cars, drive in their parents' cars more? Of course, we need to encourage adults, ourselves, to drive less and walk more. This is so good because not only is it going to have an impact on climate change if we drive less, but it'll help children be more active, adults as well. It will give them the opportunity to explore different environments more. It's a win-win. It's just about figuring out how we can actually walk more. So figuring out how can we leave the car at home and get ourselves out there on our feet. So that's something really to think about. And if you are in a school or earlier setting, have those amazing times where children are in pretend car activities, but then start looking at, okay, we're going to park our cars and we're going to walk here because why do we think it's better? Those kind of things. It's just those little tweaks that we can actually help children figure out, oh, no, this is good. And also sometimes educating children in that way means they will have those discussions at home. Now, one thing that we love doing in early years is recycling objects to create art. So also other things, I guess. So it's actually getting children to recycle, but getting them to think about why it's good to recycle. So not just getting them to bring plastic bottles, etc. from home and then creating art. It's about having that bit more of a conversation. And obviously starting by recycling at home. Of course, the plastics in the sea is just one example. We could, do something about using plastic and recycling plastic, etc. But not only that, it's about recycling clothing. So, speaking to parents, or if you're a parent, helping children understand not all their clothing needs to be new. I don't think children actually care. They don't care that their clothing isn't new. And then, discussing, you can't wear this anymore, but who can we give it to? So really, really getting them thinking about it's okay to recycle. It's okay to wear old clothing or secondhand clothing, things like that. And not constantly getting them new clothing. So recycling is just such a huge important thing that we have to think about, because we honestly, as humans, we use so much stuff. Okay, I'm preaching here, but it's true, really, isn't it? I love new things, but I don't buy a lot of stuff myself, and I wear my stuff. I mean, I've got clothing that's over 20 years old, so it's just thinking about not always needing new stuff. And once again, if we feel like we need new stuff all the time, of course we're going to instill those ideas in any child that we have conversations with in that regard. And in a similar vein, I want to talk about consumerism. It's very easy for children to feel like something's broken, I'll get a new one. Because if that's happening at home, if that's something that's just quite normal, something breaks, a new one arrives, that just becomes something that they're used to. So it's really thinking about how we can encourage them to understand you can fix things. You don't always need the newest, shiniest, fanciest thing. Unfortunately, we are slaves to marketing, and it's very important to think about how easily we can get encouraged to buy something new and shiny when we don't even need it, through really, really, truly good marketing. And unfortunately, that's what happens in consumerism. We are quite, we don't realize how much we are encouraged to just constantly spend, get new, get shiny. because of these big companies who are really good at selling and marketing to us. So it's figuring out how we can counteract that with our children so that they don't grow up to think, if I want something new and shiny or something's broken, I'll just get another one. Thinking about how we can repair, how we can fix, how we can recycle once again. And then finally, I want to talk about, and this is something we already do with young children, look at the community. Look at our local community, look at our bigger community, and look at the whole community as the world. And instill in children that it's not just about my own gain. It's not just about me. It's about if we work together, if we support each other, if we think about what others need, then we're all going to win. So it's really, children in the early years usually hate injustice. They usually don't want other people to be unhappy, but also they're quite driven by their own needs, which is quite normal. It's quite acceptable. However, it's teaching them that sometimes it's not just about getting your own needs fulfilled. It's about looking at the bigger picture. And that's something, we as adults once again need to think about. It's very easy for us to really, really be focused on our own needs, especially if we're finding things difficult. If we're finding things difficult, it's very hard to imagine what other people are going through. So it's important to think about what I need as opposed to what I want. And it's very important to think about how is my gain going to impact on others. So yes, I do feel like I've been a bit preachy, but this is something, it's a really important conversation to have. First of all, look at our attitudes towards climate change and towards how to make a difference. And then looking at how we can impact children's attitudes and habits, which hopefully will help them really have really some good instilled positive actions towards climate change, because this is a big serious issue. And yes, so before thinking about creating all these new lessons, think about what you're already doing, and then take a step back and think about what you're bringing to the table and what your role modeling is going to be, how your role modeling is going to impact the children.